It happens in less than a second. The car ahead of you stops short, or a shape steps off the curb, or your wheels catch the ice, and the world begins to turn. And in that tiny sliver of time, something impossible happens. Time stretches. The half second it takes for your hands to move on the wheel seems to unfold slowly, almost gently, as if the universe has quietly slipped into slow motion just for you. You notice things you had no business noticing. The exact angle of the other car, a single leaf on the windshield, the strange calm in your own mind. And then it snaps back, and it is over, and your heart is pounding, and you are left with one question. How did your brain do that? Almost everyone who has lived through a sudden accident describes the very same thing. Time slowed down. I saw everything. It feels like proof that in an emergency, your brain unlocks a hidden gear, some buried superpower that speeds you up and slows the world to a crawl. It is one of the most common stories human beings tell about their worst moments. And it is, almost certainly, not true. The truth is stranger, and to uncover it, a scientist had to do something slightly insane. His name is David Eagleman, a neuroscientist who became obsessed with a simple question. When people say time slowed down, do they really mean their perception sped up? Their eyes and their mind genuinely running faster than normal? Or is something else going on? The problem was obvious. You cannot ethically terrify someone in a laboratory over and over on command. So Eagleman went looking for the most frightening thing he could find that was still technically completely safe. He found it in a tower in Dallas, a device that drops a person backwards into a net from more than 100 feet up with no rope and nothing to hold on to for about 3 seconds of pure free fall. It is, by design, terrifying, and by design, harmless. The perfect controlled nightmare. Then came the clever part. Eagleman strapped a small screen to each volunteer's wrist, a device he called a perceptual chronometer. It flashed a number over and over, just a little too fast for the human eye to read under normal conditions. To ordinary vision, the numbers were nothing but a blur, and his logic was beautiful in its simplicity. If, during the fall, time really did slow down inside your mind, if your perception genuinely sped up the way the stories claim, then for those few seconds, you would suddenly be able to read the flickering numbers on your wrist. The superpower, if it existed, would have to show itself right there. So they fell. They dropped backwards off the tower, hearts hammering, every instinct screaming that they were about to die. And when it was over, Eagleman asked them the only question that mattered. Could you read the number? They could not one of them. During the most frightening seconds of their lives, their perception had not sped up at all. The numbers stayed an unreadable blur. Whatever was happening inside their heads, their brains were not running in fast forward. And yet, here is the part that makes this so strange. When Eagleman asked those same people to estimate how long their own fall had lasted and compared it to how long they judged other people's falls to be, their own fall felt about a third longer. They were certain it had stretched out. The slowdown was completely, vividly real to them. It simply was not happening when they thought it was. Because time did not slow down during the fall. It slowed down in the memory of the fall. And that small difference changes everything. Here is what your brain is actually doing in a moment of terror. Deep inside, it sits a small, ancient structure called the amygdala. And when your life is suddenly in danger, it takes over and begins to record. Not in the thin, sketchy way your brain handles an ordinary afternoon, but in extraordinary dense detail, laying down memories far thicker and richer than normal. Every texture, every color, every flicker of thought, all of it captured at once and pressed down hard. And when you look back, your brain reads that unusually thick stack of memory the only way it knows how. More memory must mean more time. A few seconds recorded in such overwhelming detail could not possibly have been just a few ordinary seconds. So your mind, replaying them, stretches them out to fit. The slow motion you remember is not a recording of slowed down time. It is the footprint of a brain that, for a few seconds, was paying more attention than it ever has in your entire life. And it does this for a reason far older than cars and curbs. In a life or death instant, the tiny detail your brain captures might be the very thing that saves you, this time or the next time. So it holds the shutter open and takes in everything, just in case. The eerie, stretched calm you feel in an accident is not your life flashing before your eyes as it ends. It is your brain, at its most awake, deciding that this moment matters far too much to forget. So the next time you hear someone say that time slowed down when they thought they were going to die, you will know the truth is even more remarkable than the story. Time never slowed at all. For a few short seconds, a frightened human brain simply became the most powerful recording device on Earth. And then it handed the memory back to you, stretched and glowing, as if to say, "Look how much of you was still here."